Hey students, this is Mr. Pollock. Just wanted to go through real quick a World War I PowerPoint. I know this is going to be weird, but we're going to start out with the final address of George Washington. After George Washington had been president for 8 years, he decided that 8 years was good. Kind of set the example that maybe you should only be president for 8 years. But in his final address, he talks about foreign relations, and he talks about that if we get aligned or allies or friends too friendly with foreign nations, we might get caught up in wars and different things. And so for a long time, our policy was to stay neutral. Our policy was to stay out of other people's business and not to get involved. So let's fast forward to the start of the 1900s. This is the time period we're talking about in Utah history. And there's alliances all over the world, okay? And I need you to kind of pay attention and maybe write this down in your notes. You're going to write it down, obviously, in your assignment paper. Following George Washington's advice, the United States stayed neutral. France is allies with England or Great Britain, okay? And Germany is allies with Austria-Hungary. Now, in just a second, I'm going to show you a map of the world, and hopefully this will start to make sense. A lot of people didn't know, but Russia secretly is an ally with Yugoslavia and with France. And again, when you see the map, then all of a sudden you're going to understand why Russia and France are allies. So let me show you the map. Here's Germany. Here's Austria-Hungary. And they are all allies. Okay? Now, if you're thinking that this is Hitler or where's Japan, that's World War II. You got the wrong war. Okay? United Kingdom, England, France. Okay? If you understand Germany's history, that they have been very, very militaristic, and they have looked to take over the world before. Each of their little parts, Bavaria, Hesse, anyways, they're very militaristic. So people are kind of afraid of what Germany might do. So this is why France has a secret alliance with Russia. Not only is Russia huge, but they're on both sides of Germany. So if Germany does try something, Russia would hit from this side and France would hit from that side. I also told you these little people down here are part of Russia, the alliance with Russia. They really don't like being forced to be part of Austria-Hungary. And so that's one of the things that is going to end up. Austria-Hungary is forcing them to be part of their empire, and they don't want to. And so that's why they make an alliance with Russia to maybe help with that. Okay? So if you ever ask yourself what starts it, the actual thing that starts World War I is the next king. I call him the next king, but his official title is Archduke. He is next in line to be king of Austria-Hungary. And he marries a woman named Sophie. And he goes on vacation down here to Sarajevo for his honeymoon. And while he's down there, a rebel puts a bullet in the back of his head, shoots him, and kills him. Again, these people do not want to be part of Austria-Hungary. And so that's part of their protest. That's the way they're acting out. Now, the king of Austria-Hungary, obviously, first thing, he demands revenge. He demands that the rebel be given to them so he can try them and put him in prison, probably kill him, actually. Okay? And anyways, it's a big mess. And of course, Sarajevo, Yugoslavia, says no. And everyone else in the world that's looking at the map says, what are you doing, you dumb little people? But What do you know that the rest of the world doesn't know? They know that they have this alliance with Russia. Okay. So Austria-Hungary is about ready to really go in there, really start to attack them, and then they start to think maybe there's something up with this, and that's when Germany steps in and allegedly gives Austria-Hungary what's called a blank check. Now think about that. If you got your mom and dad's checkbook and they give you a blank check that is signed, and all you have to do is fill out the amount. So Austria-Hungary, with the backing of Germany, decides that they're going to attack Yugoslavia. So Austria-Hungary attacks Yugoslavia, Russia gets involved, and then France and England get involved. And you can kind of just see it's just this domino effect because of all these alliances. And you should be asking yourself, where is United States? Because this is all about United States. Well, the United States is neutral. So the Neutrality Pact, the United States says we're just going to stay out of it, and they don't get involved. One of the new inventions that happens during this time period is U-boats. Germany is using and advancing this technology, and the United States warned Germany not to use the U-boats against them. And Germany says, we'll quit giving supplies to our enemy. It doesn't take very long, and a Royal Mail ship, RMS Lusitania, it's an English ship with Americans on board, gets sunk by a U-boat. Now you might be going, what's a U-boat? Well, a U-boat is the new technology. I'll try to say it with my German accent and see if you can understand it. It's an Unterwasserboot. Underwater boat. Yeah, submarines. So Germany is using submarines to sneak up on boats and sink them. And of course, the United States says, don't do it. Don't kill our people. And Germany says, okay, we won't kill your people because they don't want the United States in the war. Later, as things start to get more and more tight, and it looks like the United States may enter the war, Germany sends a telegraph to the ambassador of Mexico, asking them to attack the United States. Now, the Secretary of War for the Germans is a guy named Zimmerman, and so that's why it becomes known as the Zimmerman Telegraph. The only problem is United States intercepts the telegraph. They read it, and they say, Germany, you made a big mistake. Germany is thinking that if Mexico gets involved and fights the United States, then they won't be able to come over and fight in Europe and fight against, the things that have been going on for several years. Notice the date. United States enters the war in 1917. This is actually a slide from the PowerPoint from our Utah studies. But because of United States entering the war, obviously Utahns are going to get involved in helping with the war effort. One of the very first things the book talks about is a guy named Browning invents one of the very first automatic machine guns. And this is a picture of a machine gun. It's actually pretty cool. There's a museum up in Ogden in the train depot of everything Browning. He has over hundreds and hundreds of patents of little guns and big guns. And anyways, anything about guns, Browning has done it. He was a gun geek, okay? We provided copper for guns and ammunition. We had wheat to feed the troops. And we had lots and lots of soldiers to go to fight. Obviously, with the mining in Utah, we have lots of stuff for mining that we send, right? That's why the copper goes. And then, of course, the other big economy for Utah is the wheat. So we send lots of that for that. Okay. I'm going to put a copy of this um, uh, in the assignment in Canvas, and I want you to look at it. But these are 12 inventions that were used during the war. Uh, Tanks were used for the very first time. Flamethrowers. This is just pretty amazing. The flamethrowers. Poison gas. This is horrible. Okay. Tracer bullets. Interrupter gear. Air traffic control. Depth charges. All of these things are part of things that were used for the first time. Again, I'm going to put a link on this on Canvas so you can kind of look through it and kind of see what are some things. Okay. It's really not what I wanted. There we go. We're back to my PowerPoint. All right. Also, another link that I'm going to put on here is these are links to people that fought and were heroes in World War I from Utah. They received the Medal of Honor or the Purple Heart for being wounded. So these are some links I'm going to ask you to look through. Also for the assignment, you can go in there later and kind of fill in. Put in 2 or 3, right? Kind of look through and kind of see. Some of their stories are very moving, and I think it's important for us to understand. All right, last thing. Again, this war has been going on for almost 3.5 years. The United States gets involved in 1917, and it doesn't take very long, and the war is over on actually by the fall of 1918, but they're going to project out till November 11th, 1918. And the reason why they wanted that day is because they wanted that day to be the day to be significant, to be symbolic, right? So the bells all across Europe rang at the 11th hour on the 11th day on the 11th month. The whole idea was this was going to be the war to end all wars. This was going to be the war that nobody else wanted to do. Nobody else would want to do this in the future. And so this was going to be symbolic. It was also known as Armistice Day. And later, we're going to change Armistice Day to Veterans Day. And we still honor our veterans on the 11th of November. Now, one note, and this is just a little preview, a little foreshadowing. The United States, Russia, France, England decide that they are going to punish Germany so bad for what they did to start World War I that that's going to throw Germany into a huge, huge economic hole, a depression. And they are not going to be able to get out of that. Now, fast forward a couple decades, and there's going to be this little guy with a mustache that comes forward and says, I will be your savior. I will be the guy that saves you, and I will take you back to the power you once were. And because of the punishments that the Allies put on Germany, the people of Germany are going to look to Hitler to be the one that saves them. Okay? All right. That's the end of my show. Let me get this turned off. Hope you have a great day.